Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Evening Show right here on Smash FM here on Lockdown Friday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's turn our attention from sports to, to the entertainment side of things and, of course, speak to an actress, vocalist and dancer herself. Of course, she joins us right now from Melbourne. Of course, her name is Steph Wood. She joins us now. Thanks, Steph, for joining us.
Hi, thanks so much for having me in lockdown.
No worries. Well, I guess for the entertainment industry side of things, it hasn't been a great year because of COVID, especially here in Melbourne. But for you, what have you been doing? I guess prior to, did you do any like performances or any gigs like that prior to lockdown?
Right, oh yeah, it's kind of like the whole industry has gone dead for Melbourne especially, and even now that Sydney's opening up, it doesn't make much of a difference to us Melbourneites because they don't want us. They don't want us. But previous to COVID, yeah, there's always stuff on the cards and auditions on the cards and things like that, and just following like my work that I have done, like you might have seen me on TV in a Coles commercial, or
Yes.
did a bunch of musical theatre in Melbourne at Chapel of Chapel, which is really cool. But yeah, it's kind of scary to think that everything's gone right now. But what a wonderful rest we've all been able to have. Just no pressure of auditions, which is quite nice.
I know this is going to sound a really silly question to ask, but do you miss it?
Oh yeah. Most definitely. It's I think the scariest thing, especially for theatre, I think film and television will open back up quite quickly because you can do all the social distancing rules and follow the guidelines. But it's a real shame for live theatre and for musical theatre. Who knows when it's going to come back? And that's a really scary thought because that is a lot of people's livelihoods. So yeah, but hey, what can you do? I've got a whole new tech set up. I'm learning new things in lockdown, so.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But now, of course, I have to mention, obviously, you mentioned that you've been involved in, I guess, TV ads that we do get to see on TV now. But I guess for you, I guess, what have you been doing to keep yourself sane from, and obviously away from the theatre side of things?
To keep myself sane, lots of tea, lots and lots of tea. And I've actually thrown myself into getting like a home setup. So today we're using a brand new camera and microphone and lights and all the stuff that I never needed because I was a live performer. So that's quite cool because a lot of things are going off self-tapes now. A lot of auditions, film it at home, send it off, even for theatre. I just recently did an audition where they wanted you to do it at home self-tape, which, for a musical can be unusual, but I think it's going to be the way forward. Lots of that, lots of yoga, lots of cuddling my cat, Leo, he might make an appearance at some fluffy appearance at some point. And just watching as much theatre as I can. The National Theatre in London put out a whole bunch of their shows online, and that, like, how lucky to be able to watch some of those.
Get back to, I guess, what you mentioned about setting things up with technology and all that. How's that been traveling?
Well, right now you are sitting on a ironing board. I can probably tilt my camera so you can see that you are on a laptop, but I can't really, it's not going to work. That is an ironing board. So, DIYing it. Now it's going to take me like 5 years to set that back up to where it was. Oh no, I have to move back up. That's hilarious. So previously, before I bought all this equipment, I actually did a casting workshop because casting directors are setting up these awesome workshops for actors at the moment. And I had my laptop set up on about 12 books, just balanced on top of 12 books to try and get the right angle. And I was really close to the window to try and get some natural light. And at one point, everything fell over and I gouged a hole in my wall. So Luckily, it wasn't during the actual thing. It was like pre-camera being on. But my partner will say there has been quite a lot of technical tears, as in just me breaking down because I'm no good with the technical stuff.
Now, you mentioned about the ads, of course, that we get to see on TV that you've been involved in. Obviously, you mentioned about the Coles one, which everyone would know and recognise by now. But just in case they didn't know, you must have tell us which Coles ad that was, and I guess, and how did that all come about?
So it's a Coles ad that's been running for quite a while now. They kept rolling me over, and also if you walk into stores, you can. I'm on the little poster, like handing some shopping to a lady, like. So I am playing the checkout chick, which is great because my day job, as in my pay rent job, not my passion job, is I teach children singing and piano, and now they think I work at Coles. So they're quite confused as to why I need two jobs. And one of them said, oh, hey, are you on that new Coles ad? And I was like, yeah. And then this other guy, this little 9-year-old boy was like, ooh, that's a new low. Which was interesting. But filming that was so intriguing because it's a supermarket. So they send you out to the newest built supermarket, which is usually quite far away from the city. So it's the newest looking shop setup. And then because supermarkets are open all the time, we did an overnight shoot. So it started at 8 p.m. and it finished at 10 a.m. And I only found out that I got the gig at 3 p.m. on the day. So I was already at work, and then I had to go from work without any prep, like nothing, didn't have anything with me, straight off to filming, which is the nature of commercials. It's like at a drop of a hat that you find out. You do your audition, which is you walk into a room. For this one, we just had to be like, savings in the produce aisle, so, like that. You learn a script in 30 seconds. You walk out. It takes about 3 minutes. And then, yeah, you either get shortlisted and they let you know and they say, please keep this day free, or you don't hear from them again. So if it's a no, you won't get told. You just go with it. But it was a fun shoot, very well catered, lots of coffee. And we had like those heat pack things stuck on us because it was so cold. So we were covered in like heat pack things, and yeah, by the time we got to 4 a.m., it was quite hard to keep the warm smile going. But yeah, they're a great bunch to work for, the Flinders Lane production company.
Now, when you see your the ads that you're in, do you just admire it and like, oh, that's actually me?
Well, I wish I could, but I'm the streamer, so I don't even have normal television. So I actually haven't I don't watch ads because I've got Netflix or other streaming things, or so I started getting videos that my friends have filmed me on the TV and then sent it to me, which is great because they try and like zoom in really hard on my face and it's all blurry. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. As a theatre girl that then got to do a little bit of TV work, it was a pretty cool experience. And to have random people be like, are you that Coles girl? Yes, I am.
Now, I normally don't ask this question, but I'm going to ask this question anyway. Did you get any like a 3 years worth of shopping?
Oh God, I wish.
Oh.
No. Unfortunately not. No, we didn't. They did I did get to do some extreme workouts though, because you have to hold up the products. Like in the ad, someone holds up the products and they zoom in on the product. But they don't just use the boxes of the product. They use the actual product. So I was holding like a 12 pack of Sprite or Coca-Cola or something, and you've got to hold it away from your body, and it's so heavy, and it's 3 a.m. and you're like, and smile, and I think there's like cold power that I'm holding up, and you can see I'm like shaking, like. So thank you for the guns. Yeah.
Now, of course, going into, I guess, hopefully when we get our lockdown, hopefully in about maybe a month, maybe 2 months time, I guess, do you have any plans at all that you want to do?
I actually had really big plans that got a bit sidestepped because of lockdown. So in the middle of this year, I was supposed to move to London, but that has not happened. So now my plans are probably to move to London whenever I possibly can. Yeah, so my brother lives in London and owns a house there. So I had an amazing opportunity to go to London and just get myself into the industry there because it's so much bigger. There's so many auditions, there's so much going on. However, London's been pretty badly hit by COVID, so not so much going on anymore. Yeah, so that was a pretty big plan that went.
Now, for you, how did you get involved in the entertainment industry, especially being an actress, a vocalist, and a dancer?
Ooh. Well, I have been dancing since I was 3. I think it's almost one of those industries that you are born doing, like you come out dancing or you come out singing, and then your parents try and make you do math and science, but you're still just wearing sequins. So for most of my younger life, I was involved with all things to do with performance. So when I finished high school, I'm actually from New Zealand. So when I finished high school, I did my degree. I did a Bachelor of Performing Arts in Musical Theatre. And then as soon as that finished, I bought a one-way ticket to Melbourne to see if I could make it here, which was, yeah, pretty scary. Didn't know anybody when I moved here. It was like one of those, they just had a special on flights, so I just kind of booked it, and then to my boyfriend at the time, I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm going to move to Australia, so I don't think this is going to work anymore. And then I moved in with his auntie in Melbourne. Like, what a horrible person. What a horrible person. But in terms of like getting your foot in the door of the industry, well, I mean, look, that's a challenge. And I think it's based on what people deem as success. What is success to you? So I feel so lucky to have done the things that I have done and been a part of the productions and companies I have been a part of. It's not all talent. It's a whole lot of right place, right time, and making sure that you are continuously training so that when you get that lucky opportunity, you're ready to take it. We get rejected more than anybody in the world. So most people, get rejected in a lifetime, the amount that a performer will get rejected in a week. So there's a lot of no's, and you just got to be a little rubber band and get sad about it, and then get back on your horse and go for it again. And know that lots of the time it's not you. It's got nothing to do with you or your talent. Maybe you're too tall or too short, or your hair's too short or not the right color. So much of it is out of your control. Yeah.
Now, of course, Melbourne is the entertainment city in the country. Well, obviously not now, but considering we're all in lockdown at the moment. But obviously, everyone knows it is the entertainment city, and especially in the arts and the musical theatres. Obviously, we've got some amazing venues here. Is there one venue that you performed that really stands out to you here in Melbourne?
I guess I'm more of a fan of the independent theatres. I mean, if you take some of yes, we've got some beautiful theatres in the city, but I feel like there are beautiful theatres everywhere. And I think what Melbourne really has to offer is some really incredible, small, independent theatre stages and theatre companies that are kind of pocketed all around the city that you wouldn't expect them to be there. And then you walk in and it's this cute little intimate theatre. And I think that's what's so special about Melbourne. It's not all about commercialized theatre or commercialized musical theatre. There's so much independent, up-and-coming companies, up-and-coming artists, brand new works, like real Australian works that get to be performed here. So places like Chapel of Chapel and MC Showroom, like they're just really cute. They're just so gorgeous and so more personal than the massive stage with the 3-tiered audience. And I mean, that's the dream, right? But it's really nice to see your audience's face and see how much you can affect them. So I think it's my favourite thing about Melbourne is just all the little tiny theatres.
What will be some highlights throughout your musical theatre journey?
One of my biggest it all started when I was at NASDA in New Zealand, the National Academy of Singing and Dramatic Art. In my final year, our final musical was Curtains, and I was playing the awesome role of Nikki Harris. So much fun. And unfortunately, the night before opening night was the very first Christchurch earthquake. So that meant that we couldn't perform. We couldn't do our run of our shows, and we were doing it in our little theatre at the Polytech. So not a fancy theatre, but because of the earthquakes, a few weeks later, we got to do it in the biggest theatre in Christchurch at the Isaac Theatre Royale. So as a aspiring, like almost graduated from my degree, we got to perform in this most gorgeous, like the big, like the 3-tiered, stunning theatre, one night only. And that was just one of the best moments, just not even having graduated and been able to step onto one of those amazing stages and feel what that's like. That was pretty cool. Another highlight was just random things happen. I went to Europe to do voiceovers for an Australian, like the Dermatology Institute of Victoria for this program called HOYS, Home of Younger Skin, that they were developing. But they sent me to Europe because the software developers were on an around the world holiday and they were in Europe and they needed to get the work done. So they thought it would be cheaper to just fly me over there so that I could record, follow them around on their holiday and record. So we're like in Sicily in some beautiful like apartment right on the top of this building, and it's what, 33 degrees, something ridiculous, and there's me in a little like makeshift recording booth surrounded by like doonas and pillows to try and cut the sound, trying to say stuff like, look at yourself in the mirror, do you have under eye bags? It's just so, and so I got this amazing holiday just out of the blue, just totally randomly. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a highlight. And at the time, I didn't think that was successful, which is so strange. I think that's what's really hard about being a performer, is keeping your mind on how much you have done, not where you want to be. We all want to be on Broadway. And that's okay. It's okay to not be there yet. Yeah, that's probably two top ones. So another amazing memory I have is performing at Adelaide Fringe Festival. So me and this other amazing performer called Miss Fribby, we created a show, and one of the acts was I was eating chocolate, and you eat it kind of strangely and you get it all over your face and it gets very, 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 very messy. And for some reason, I thought it might be a cool idea to like climb over the audience, because we had this line where we pointed at someone and went, you disgust me. So this one fateful day, I climbed over and I point at this guy, and he just looks at me and he looks at my finger and he just goes,
oh,
and licks the chocolate off my finger. And I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. And what was so weird is after it happened once, every show we did, somebody would do that. It was just so strange. So the things you put your body through for your art. And in today, I'm sure that's making everyone cringe because of like coronavirus, but at the time, it seemed quite funny.
What does musical theatre and entertainment mean to you?
The world. I think it's more than just a job for me. It's part of my well-being, and it's like a part of my soul. So I love the performance world because that's the only job you can have where you get to be every career and every personality and see what it's like to do anything from learning to be a doctor to being a vet to handing shopping bags off in a Coles ad. Like all that amazing stuff is just, it's so wonderful to not be you, to be an alternate personality, to have a safe space where you just get to play. So that's one thing I love. And the second thing I absolutely adore about anything to do with performance is that it changes lives, and it changes opinions, and it changes politics, and it aids the world. It makes people happy, and it makes people think. You come to a show to escape reality. That's why theatre has always been most popular during really, really hard hit times, like during the war. Live performance was so important because everybody just wants to escape. But not only for theatre today do you escape, but you learn something. We're fighting prejudice, and learning about sexuality and just all that kind of beautiful stuff that you can get in theatre. Just, it's a very powerful art form, and everybody watches it. Everybody loves it. So I cannot deny the applause is lovely. Is lovely.
Now we'll finish off with two final ones.
Nice.
Which is now obviously the ultimate goal is hopefully to go on Broadway in Big Apple in New York City. Have you ever been to New York City and been to Broadway?
I have not.
Oh.
I've been to Westend, so I've been to the London equivalent of Broadway, but I've never been to America.
No.
Never. I mean, yeah, Broadway is like the ultimate dream, but I'm quite happy just getting paid to do what I love in whatever facet that may be, in any way. Getting paid to play is pretty awesome.
Now, two-part question to finish off. The first one is, what would be your advice to our listeners and viewers here in Melbourne that should think about getting involved in musical theatre?
Cool. Well, if you want to do musical theatre, the first thing to do is get yourself to some classes so you can start networking and meeting people. Get yourself into some dance classes. Find a really awesome singing teacher. Use some of the awesome acting schools that are here, like TAFTA, Brave Studios, APS. There's some amazing things out there. Get some footage together and then go and find yourself an agent. They're going to be your best friend, because they're the ones that are going to help you get all those jobs and get the briefs, and also be your security guard. So they're going to stand up for you when something in the contract isn't right, or you're not getting paid enough, or you haven't got paid yet. Getting an agent can be difficult. It's okay to be a freelance artist. You can still do that, but you've got to be so proactive. Got to get on the internet, look for those auditions, join things like Star Now, Showcast, casting networks, take bunches of videos of yourself, grab all opportunities and run with it. Even if it's a tiny thing like Coles commercials, grab that opportunity and go with it. Is it an HBO show? No. But you need to be professional in anything that you do. And, you can't, as an actor, there are no small parts. There are only small actors. So, and then my final piece of advice is, even though you're grabbing all opportunities, know your worth. Know that you deserve to be paid for your time and your talent, and that exposure is not enough payment when you're giving hours and hours and hours of your creative talent and your soul. So know your worth.
And we'll finish off with this one last one for everyone that should follow you and your progress on the socials. How can they go about following you on the socials?
Oh, well, you can follow me on Instagram at Stephanie Marion Wood. You can follow me on Facebook, Stephanie Marion Wood. Nice and easy. I haven't got onto the Twitters yet. I'm not a Twitterer. But I mostly do use Instagram, and I'm really good at replying to direct messages. So if you do have any questions about the industry or getting into the industry, whatever I can do to help, just slide on into my DMs.
Stephanie, thanks so much for joining us. It's awesome having you on the show. We can't wait to hopefully get to meet you in person before you head off to England in particular.
London, yeah.
And London, and hopefully we can do that before once lockdown is over.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
No worries. And that's Stephanie Wood there, of course, a musical theatre entertainer. Of course, as I said, she is an actress, a vocalist, and also dancer as well. So you can follow her on her socials on how you can go about it, which we'll post that up on our socials, including this interview, of course, in the coming days. There's more on the Smash Evening Show right after this. Don't go away here on Lockdown Friday.